Welcome back, everybody, to the Meeple Marathon. Today I have a very exciting, highly anticipated unboxing, and this is for Ryan Laukat's Now or Never by Red Raven Games. So Now or Never is bittersweet. It is the third piece of the Arzium Trilogy that started with Above and Below, then had Near and Far, and now has Now or Never. So this is certainly not Ryan Laukat's last game, but he's kind of wrapping up this Arzium universe that he has created, and a lot of his games feel like they come out of that universe, but these three in particular, he has tried to have a cohesive narrative, I guess, somewhat, and it's really kind of sad because the Above and Below and Now or Never are my two favorite Ryan Laukat games. So to see this come to an end is a little bittersweet, but I'm very excited to finally have a chance to play Now or Never. So without further ado, we're just gonna crack this thing open here. So Now or Never is it's a storybook game. There is some narrative elements to it, but it also is a mixture of like exploration, a little bit of character development. Everybody has an asymmetrical hero they're walking around, but there's also it's really kind of elements of Above and Below and Near and Far, where you're having assistants added to your player board that you can utilize. And but there's also this tableau building aspect where you're building up this town. So this would be an advertisement for the foreteller. So foreteller is basically audio narration of the storybook elements. I use foreteller for Madara, and I can say it definitely adds to the level of immersion. It's really nice to just sit there and listen and not read through it. Madara has a ton of text, however, but Madara is also free, the voice narration. So it's really up to you, but it is a nice touch. Obviously, they make it pretty simple for you to find the app, download it, and pay them for it. So, all right, here is the rule book. This appears to be a campaign sheet. This is a nice thick cardstock, though. I don't think I'll ever be actually drawing on that, but let's just take a look at the rule book here. You can see that there are right here two modes of play. So there's standard mode and story mode, and very similar to how Now and Never was. You could play several ways. You could just play a one-off map. You could play a little mini campaign based around a specific character, or you could play the full campaign where you would go through every single map, and it was like a 7-game session or something like that. Well, this one has the one-off mode, or it has a 6-chapter mode where you are following along your specific asymmetrical hero. So nice that there are two ways to play. You can see lots of components here that all are covered with Ryan Laukat's custom artwork, which you can't beat as far as I'm concerned. So all right, so we'll be seeing these here in a minute, but these first few pages of the rulebook do a great job of just covering what exactly am I looking at. So this is your town board, and the story of Now and Never is that you, well, not you particularly, but there was this town built into the cliffs called Monument, and this meteor, which if we look back here at the map here, this red meteor, and I believe, yeah, this is the town right here. The red meteor comes crashing to the ground and leaches out all these monsters, this otherworldly thing, and so the monsters just start taking over land, and you are forced, the original settlers of Monument have to leave. So now we're 30 years later, and we as heroes have been charged with coming back in, getting rid of the monsters and helping rebuild Monument. So you're going to be, bringing assistance with you. You're also going to be rescuing settlers, building the town up. That's the tableau building part. Placing settlers in there who are going to add to your resource production. So there's a little bit of engine building. and then obviously the little kind of narrative elements that are in all these Arzium games. So this is your town board. Your town board, again, you can see you're going to be placing these building slots, and then as you put buildings in, there's going to be places that you can add once you rescue them, the settlers who had been kicked out. You know, these are like the original villagers of Monument that you have rescued from the monsters and are rebuilding the town for them to settle in. What's interesting about this mechanic that he has set up is that not only you can see that everybody's going to have a little tableau of their buildings, well, the placement of these buildings is going to be randomly set up each game, and it's going to differ from the person, the other people at the table. And when you start choosing a building, you have to choose from the outer edge, and then you have to choose adjacent buildings. So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to take this one, and then I'm going to take this one, and then I'm going to take this one. Essentially meaning your strategy of which buildings you purchase and when is forced to change game in and game out, and it forces you to be different than the other players at the table. Once you come to your town board, you have to place a building down, and then you have to build adjacent to those buildings. So you can't just build here and then here. You have to start on this bottom row somewhere and build out. And you can see the higher up you get buildings, the more VP you're going to score at the end of the game, things like that. And then there's a resource track here at the bottom. This is what your hero board is going to look like. There's 4 different asymmetrical heroes. Basically, this is where your assistants are going to live. You can have up to 4 at a time, and your basic combat actions, and then slots for additional gear and other actions here. So you can upgrade your character, and these red and blue boxes are going to hold those upgrades. Combat is a little bit of luck involved, but typical to Ryan Laukat games, you can get by. You can do a lot of stuff in his games by just simply giving up health. And so combat is no different. That it's not a you get one chance to defeat him type of thing, but essentially you're rolling a 4-sided die and you are completing the action there against the monster. So you could upgrade, say, your 1 and 2 slots, but you can then roll nothing but 3s and 4s on your next combat and not even get to use your upgrades. So some people may not like that aspect, that there's a little bit of luck involved, but that's for you to decide. Last area here is your movement actions. So you get a 2 movement, a 3 movement, and a 4 movement for your hero. So during a round or a season, you actually only get 3 actions that you can take with your hero. All the rest of them are going to come from like your assistants and like purchasing things. Very similar to Lost Ruins of Arnak, in my opinion, where Lost Ruins of Arnak, for most of the characters now, you have just 2 archaeologists. So you have 2 places that you can go place them and either discover or, collect resources, things like that. And some people might think, well, once you have put those 2 workers out, there's not much else for you to do, which is not true. You can buy gear, you can buy artifacts, you can push up the research track. There's tons of other stuff you can do to extend your turn, and those turns get longer and longer as the game goes on, and that's only 5 rounds. This is going to be the same way, that your hero is going to give you 3 things you can do with the hero, but then there's all these other things that you're going to be able to do, building out your tableau, making use of your assistants, things like that, to extend your rounds. All right, so that's I thought there was one other one here for my review of the rulebook online, but that's going to do it. It's really not a overly complicated game. There are a little bit of nuances here that are going to are going to be tricky to pick up, and there is some symbology. If you're familiar with a Ryan Laukat game previously, I don't think you'll have problems picking up the symbology. For someone who's new to like a Red Raven game, it might take you a little while. But other than that, the rulebook is not super thick. You saw that really the first, whatever it is, 7 pages are like components, setup, and basics of what you're looking at. Really here on page 8 starts the core of the rulebook, and it goes to 17. So what is that, 9 pages, and then the rest of this is all reference stuff, so explaining what every card means and location descriptions and story mode. So this is, if you're going to play in the story mode, you definitely want to read this section. There's a little bit more rules, solo play rules, explaining all the cards for the solo play, search tokens, what do they all mean, and then, you know, the back side of the board, which we'll see here in a second. And then, you know, some reminders, an index, you know, a lot of nice stuff on the back here. All right. That was a very in-depth look at the rule book, but I'm very excited about this game. So, all right. So I'm not going to open these up, but you can see these are the chapter books, which again is nice. It's not just one big book that you're constantly having to flip through or haul around. So if you're playing story mode, you're going to play through 6 total chapters, following along following along your hero specifically. So you could essentially play story mode through 4 times and not even come close to you know, repeating things. But even then, the choices that you make throughout your particular adventure means that you could go back and play them again. So I think there'll be plenty of variety. Plus, I feel like this game is got like those Euro elements that would make it a nice multiplayer game just in regular mode. And story mode is going to be more for like the solo play, or you know, you and your partner or a roommate or somebody like that, you know, are going to want to sit down and spend the time going through story mode. All right, let's take a look at some of the components here. All individually baggied up, but they're all nice wooden components, screen printed in some instances, others not. And then there's a ton of cardboard. All right, so let's just go through some of these here. So these are your kind of action selection arrows. Each one of you is going to get 3 of these, and these are going to mark, all right, I'm taking my move 4 action this time with my hero. I'm going to take my move 2 action. So that's what those are for. Then everybody's going to get a heart to track their health. And then there's also these bottled demons, which is like a resource you can gain. This really just kind of makes me think of like Deadpool or Spider-Man or something like that. I remember seeing Rado play the prototype of this and thought that this was not part of the game. I thought he had found this found that from some other part of the game. This is some type of element. It's a resource. I can't remember the name of it, but again, you know, nice wooden resources there. These are your tools. You can see those are screen printed. This is your XP. Again, really nicely screen printed stuff here. What else do we got? Oh no, this might not be the XP. This might be something else. This might be a different resource because there's only 4 of them. This is a book. It's kind of hard to see, but if you turn it just right, there is the book, and then a shell, which is kind of a random resource. There are lots of resources in the game, but for the most part, you know, they all can be combined to make money, which is really what it comes down to. Some standees, some 4-sided dice, so everybody's going to get a 4-sided die to roll for their combat. And these are fine. You know, they're semi-translucent. They're kind of that reddish color from the box. But yeah, nice big numbers. Pretty standard 4-sided die. They're a little light, but that's okay. I think most 4-sided dice are light. There's just not enough to them. All right, so here are the 4 asymmetrical heroes. So we have Namal, advanced robot cat raising her young daughter. Didn't know robots could have daughters, but that's her backstory. And then her special power here is armored. When moving, spend 1 mana to ignore all enemies for a turn. And so that's what these are called, mana. So everybody gets 2 mana during the game. And you can see that, you know, here's Namal's combat actions, which are going to be some nice artwork on the back there. But combat actions are going to be different than, say, Halia's combat actions. So Halia is a wandering warrior with a sentient sword, okay? And her thing is Strange Luck. Pay 1 mana to reroll a die. All right. And then we have Marklun here. Marklun? Magician, scholar, searching for secrets of the past. Okay, he's got a little bottle demon. There you go. So this equals this. And his is haste. Spend 1 mana for +2 movement. Look at how much mana he gets to start with. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas Namal here was only 2. But you'll also notice that Namal's max HP is 15, where this guy's is only 11. So again, lots of nuanced little asymmetrical touches here. And Zeke, a geomancer seeking a way to escape a prophesied doom. Farsight, pay 1 mana to draw a quest card, limit once per season. Okay, so we'll talk about quest cards here in a minute. There are my asymmetrical heroes. So these are the town boards, and this should be double-sided, I think, for the most part. Okay, so these are slightly different, like resources that you gain when you build there. Some of these slots cost more to build in certain areas. This appears to be a harder board, but also it's going to give you like more VP in areas, more chances for VP. So this also may be there is a backside to the game board that is the underground. Maybe you need to play with this town board when you go to the underground board. But these should all be the same, and it appears that they are. So there's the town boards. So everybody's going to get this. This is going to be a table hog, especially if you're playing with 4 people, because I mean this is a decent sized player board here. Your town board's a good size. Everybody's going to each have one of those. All right. So then this is your kind of I don't know what you want to call it, but market board, or everybody's going to be utilizing this board. So this is going to have gear that you can purchase. This is going to keep track of the seasons you're on. This is going to take track of your reputation, and obviously these are like anytime actions here where you can trade in a shell for a coin or 3 shells for 5 coins. So basically, again, all of these resources that we spoke about really just kind of come down to giving you the chance to trade them in for coin. There's a backside to the board here that does not have a reputation track. I believe that is for story mode. I think in story mode you don't worry about your reputation. Okay, so here is the very long but beautiful player board here. So I'm going to do my best to just kind of pan across here and keep everything in shot if possible. So you can see here that there's like a grid system if I like zoom in. And so as you're moving along, you're moving from like one grid spot to the next, and you have to move orthogonally. You can't move diagonally. And there's symbology on here. There's also going to be cards or tiles that can be placed to cover up these to like change the landscape a little bit. But there's always going to be the crystal meteorite on the map. There's always going to be monuments. So this is what you're kind of attempting to rebuild here. This is the thing that crashed and spawned all the monsters, and this is where everybody originally was and got spread out across the land. So let's just kind of pan through here and look at all of Ryan Laukat's glorious artwork. So it's a little different than Now or Never. I think one of the best parts of Now or Never was the kind of spiral bound map book. They gave you, I think it was 7 different maps to explore, and each one was quite unique. But this is easily like 1.5 map books worth in one map here, and it's double-sided, so we're talking like 3 levels of Now and Never here on just the player board. So this is the underground. you know, I'm assuming that's the same crystal meteorite. Not quite sure how the underground works. It almost appears like it's like an upside down world, but there's a monument in here. Another Forest of Spaces, City of Spies, Undergarden. So a lot of this stuff is still the same. The Flying Casino, all these names are the same, but it's obviously a very different map. But that is the kind of main board. And now we have a ton of cardboard. This box was quite heavy for not being that big. So I'm gonna have to like take these out of here. Okay. So let's take a look at these. All right, so we have some assistants. These guys you're gonna have to, pay to take this action. Like this guy's build, this guy's a build and gain experience. This guy's a heal plus gain one of those mana. This guy's heal plus gain a tool. This is gain 2 experience plus 2 health. So all of them are uniquely different. But you know what I'm realizing? I was supposed to get some metal coins. And I don't see any metal coins. Where's my metal coins? Interesting. All right. So, here's the coins. But what's interesting about these is that there's a top payment and then this smaller payment. So this is how much you have to pay to activate the person. The smaller number, however, if someone else uses your assistant, you get that much tax. So essentially, if this was on somebody else's player board here, you could still use them to take a build action. It would exhaust them. Nobody else can use them. But you're also giving that player 3 money out of the 5 total you have to spend. So interesting choices here. Here's some of the gear you can see that you can purchase and add to your player board. And then these are a lot of the monsters here. Pretty simple monsters. And yeah, they're all just red on the backside. But combat is not overly complicated. I think that was part of the point. He didn't want this game to be all about combat. For Sleeping Gods, combat became like this own little side mini game puzzle that could take some time. This one is very straightforward. You're rolling your die, you're hitting this guy, and this is how much he hits you back minus your shields. And you just keep going back and forth until one of you is defeated, and then you gain the benefits here. And you can see that there are varying levels: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a 3 over there. So this is the experience. The experience is the only thing that's not like a nicely screen printed wooden piece, but that's okay. Search tokens, and these are the settlers. So different from your assistants, these are kind of like the guys that you bring with you. These are the guys that have been scattered across the land and are the original villagers of Monument. And these guys basically, once you get them settled in buildings that you built, are going to give you production resources during the production phase. And that's pretty much it. And there's the backside of all this stuff. So a lot of these are probably going to be very similar. A whole bunch of villagers, a whole bunch of monsters, a whole bunch of gear, and some assistants. So I'm just going to shut up for a little while and let you guys take a look at these. right, so that is going to do it for the main contents of the game. The last thing we have here are some cards, so I'm going to open these up and make sure I'm not spoiling anything. We might not look through them all, but then that's going to do it for our unboxing. Okay, so not a ton of cards in the game, and most of them are quest cards. I don't think there's any spoilers here, so I think we're okay to show off. I'm not going to go through every single card, but I'm going to show off what they kind of look like. But we have some just player reference cards here that have your anytime actions as well as your turn and what you do. You either take a specialist action or a hero action, and what you do on your hero action. So those are pretty straightforward. You also have these trackers for when you're playing a monster. That way there's no like little hit points or anything like that. So each one of you can get one of these, and you simply just put a spare heart or something on here and track it down until you get them down to 0. And on the back side here is a reference for the production phase, which is nice. So basically a player reference card with some good stuff, helpful thing on the backside. So here is the solo Automa cards. The Automa does seem pretty straightforward in my opinion, and unfortunately just playing the basic standard game, the solo mode is going to be a beat your own score type of thing. But I feel like other than getting my feet out from under me, I'm going to enjoy the story mode, and that's really what I'm in this game for, is experiencing the story. So, but basically the solo Automa cards just kind of give you, they get in your way. They exhaust some of your specialists, they may steal other specialists, they may defeat some of the monsters, things like that. So you basically just, you flip over one of these cards and do what it says. All right. Last but not least, here we have some quest cards. Now there are 3 different types of quest cards. There's like regular quest cards, there's advanced quest cards, and then there's artifact quest cards. I believe these are the advanced symbol, and then we've got some down here that are artifacts, or I may have had those symbols mixed up. But essentially you're going to be given a slew of standard ones at the beginning, and then I think it's like 1 of each of the other ones, and you're going to start with 4. You're going to pick from those 4, and then it's like kind of like Ticket to Ride, where as you go throughout the game, once you have completed some or all of yours, you can always go get more. But this is just this is one of the heavier ones here, but obviously this one would be go to the Undergarden location. You've got to have 1 reputation, possibly 2 books to spend, have 1 reputation, or maybe you gain 1 reputation, but then it's going to give you this ongoing effect. You can pay a mana to take 1 hero action at a move 3. So this actually gives you 4 actions that you can take with your heroes. Really nice. And again, basically these are all like specific locations. So Ublo Tower, looks like you have to be at a reputation 3. It's going to cost you 1 book. You help repair an ancient piece of tech. Ongoing, you get +1 movement. So, oh no, these are endgame victory points. That's what these are. This is not reputation. So this is, if you complete the Lightning Fungus, obviously you're going to have this card set off to the side so you can remember it, but it's going to give you various endgame VP. So, and in the standard game, multiplayer standard mode, this is what really matters. So that's just an example of what the quest cards look like. Again, they're all centered around going to specific locations as your hero and taking that. If we look back here at this card, taking the hero action where you would move to that location and then you would play 1 quest card, which is always going to be optional. Then after you do it, you can visit the location, you can search, fight an enemy, whatever it may be. All right, before I leave you, I did find the metal coins. They were surprisingly quiet when I opened up the box, the packing box, and so these were a kind of bonus for pre-ordering the game. And I do love me some metal coins. These are really like flat, which is fine. You know, the ones for Sleeping Gods were, I think, like triangular and you know, had a much different feel. These like stack up nicely. These I could see myself wanting to do this with this all day long. But this looks to be 10s, just judging off of the hash marks. But again, you know, just nice quality coins. It's also nice to just have like a wide array. I really should like not pack all my metal coins away in the game box and keep them out to use in other games. And so these are 5s, I'm assuming, just based off the hash marks. And then these are, I'm guessing, maybe 1s. Yep, and so there's a single hash mark on these. So yeah, there we go. That is the metal coin set for Now or Never. Again, very different from his most recent metal coins, Sleeping Gods, which were like triangular pieces and hexagonal pieces. These are very round, very uniform, which is fine. They stack nicely. But again, it's the weight and the sound that you're going for that makes such a difference in these analog games. The tactile nature of metal coins just helps increase that immersive experience. So, all right, that's going to do it for our unboxing of Now or Never. Obviously, we have a ton of cardboard here. We have a ton of resources, and we just have a big empty box. Ryan Laukat was, Red Raven Games was gracious enough to give us some baggies, but we all know what we like to do with those baggies. So keep an eye out for a storage solution coming up next for Now or Never, followed by some how to play videos, and of course a playthrough. If you are interested in actually seeing some of the story mode playthrough, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm always unsure as to whether or not if people want to see or hear the story mode because it would contain spoilers, or whether they just want to see a one-off standard mode game in situations like this. So if you have a preference as to whether you'd like to see the standard mode or a story mode playthrough, please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.